Welcome to the Process Breakdown Podcast, where we talk about streamlining and scaling operations of your company, getting rid of bottlenecks, and giving your employees all the information they need to be successful at their jobs. Now, let's get started with the show.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, host of the Process Breakdown Podcast, where we talk about streamlining, scaling operations of your company, getting rid of bottlenecks, and giving your staff everything they need to be successful at their job. And, Luke, it's interesting. We're going to talk about Luke's company in a second. And his slogan is the American Dream, which we'll talk about and what that means. But this episode is brought to you by SweetProcess. If you've had team members ask you the same questions over and over and over, and you spent 10 times explaining it, there's probably a better way. There's probably a solution. It happens to be SweetProcess. SweetProcess is a software that makes it drop dead easy to train and onboard new staff, save time with existing staff. And not only, Luke, I was talking to Owen, the founder, and I discovered universities use it, banks use it, hospitals use it, software companies use it, but I didn't realize first responder government agencies use it in life or death situations to run their operations. So You can use SweetProcess. Yeah. You can use SweetProcess to document all repetitive tasks that eat up your precious time and your team's time. There's a 14-day free trial, no credit card required, sweetprocess.com. Sweet like candy, SWEET process.com. Today's guest, I am excited to have. Today we have Luke Pickerill. Did I pronounce that right, Luke?
You got it, man.
Pickerill,
yeah,
cool.
That's great.
He's owner of MonteVista Homes. And MonteVista Homes, their team is, they build quality homes in Oregon since 1989. Their homes are distinguished by the innovation designs and solid craftsmanship. If you're listening to the audio of this and you can't see his background, you could probably see the amazing design. I'm like, after seeing his backdrop and the stuff in his room here, I'm like, I need you to come to Chicago and do our home. But they base their mission around the company credo, which is dedicated to the American dream. Everyone, the American dream, owning a house. Right. Yeah. So, Luke, thanks for joining me.
Oh, man. Thanks for having me. It's great to be on the show.
So tell me about your company, what you do. You started back in 89, so you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, we're a second generation family-owned home building company. We build single-family homes in multiple regions around the state of Oregon. We focus on homes to really those move up and move down homebuyers. And so we really try to provide a really good, solid amenity set for an affordable price.
Yeah. And so I imagine the process of creating a home and a custom home is even more complicated. So tell us about the process a little bit when someone's like, yes, Luke, like we want our dream home built by you. What has to happen?
Yeah, man, it's actually a very complicated process. I mean, internally, we have, of course, our internal staff and employees. And so there's all of the day-to-day operations that go along with that. But then we employ, about 75 to 100 individual trade partners in order to get these homes built. Each trade partner may have anywhere between 1 to 40 employees, and you never know exactly who you're going to get out on the job site on any given day.
I'm stressed out thinking about it right now.
So yeah, from an operational perspective, it is relatively complex.
So there's a lot of moving pieces. How does it start with the client or customer? What do you do first?
Yeah, so generally our customers will come into one of our model homes. And so we have model homes in almost every community that we build in. So a customer will come into the model homes. They'll meet with one of our sales representatives. And really then it's about the sales representative working with the customer to find that floor plan, that color package that really fits their unique style and taste. And so from there, the customer will come into a design center meeting. And so at that meeting, we will lay out the floor plan and the colors and, the electrical and the plumbing and all of the different things that individual customer is interested in. And then we will, from there, move into the construction part of the phase. And so you can see my little boy here as we're
I thought it was just a tour of the custom home. This is a client customer who's doing a tour of your custom home.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, buddy, I'm on. So from there, we go into the construction, part of the process. And so, we go through about a 120-day build cycle where, we've got all these moving pieces and quality control inspections and on-site customer meetings. All of that culminates in the homeowner orientation tour, which is the final stop before our customers move into their brand new home. And that's really, about a 4-hour meeting where we show the customer, everything that's involved in their new home, how to work all of the different components and features and how to care and maintain for their home and those sort of things. And then customers move in and hopefully it's positive Google reviews.
What's the most challenging part of creating a custom home?
We're primarily production home builders, but we like to say that we provide a custom home experience at a production home value price. So the most challenging part is the operational organizational side of it. You have at any given time 50 homes under construction. And you have a certain number of trades that are involved in any given market group. And so as one trade maybe gets ahead of schedule early or late, that can affect all other 20 builds simultaneously. And so you
if the electrical system, that needs to be put in place before the plumbing or whatever. If one's ahead and one's behind, then it could stall the project.
Well, and let's say you had, the electrician who comes after the plumber on job number 1, right? And the plumber's late by a day, but the electrician was planning on doing job number 1 today and job number 2 tomorrow. Well, now he's on job number 1 tomorrow, and then you've got to reorganize job number 2. And so it's kind of like this living organism that has to be sort of perpetually.
And you still have your hair, Luke. That's pretty impressive.
It's getting grayer every day, though.
How do you use SweetProcess?
Yeah, so SweetProcess, I'd love to tell you about the journey that got me to SweetProcess.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, we started by having loose leaf operations, SOPs, standard operating procedures, right? Do this, do this, do this. And so we set out to say, there's got to be a better way, man. We've got all these loose leaf papers and, some are over here on John's desk and some are on Susie's desk and, nobody knows what's going on. So we said, all right, we need a desk manual for every position in the company, right? And so we set out to write a desk manual, right? And, we got that done and we realized, number one, nobody is going to read this manual. And number two, it's really, really difficult to maintain these desk manuals, to keep them up to date and to keep them current. And with the way technology and systems and processes are changing and evolving in this day and age, we found it incredibly difficult to keep that up. So we set out to find a software solution. And we looked at a couple different options, and SweetProcess was one that really caught our eye for a couple reasons. Number one, it's really, really simple to use and to understand and to update. And then number two, as we started working with the software and working with the team at SweetProcess, man, every time we would have a request, SweetProcess was there to help us implement and get that figured out. So an example of that would be using videos. So, a manual is great, step number 1, 2, 3, and 4, but now we've had the ability to be able to integrate actual training videos into our SweetProcess manuals. And so when a new employee comes on board and wants to learn how to do a process, man, here's a little 3, 4, 5 minute video that shows them exactly where to go, exactly what to do. And it has cut down our training time pretty dramatically. And so SweetProcess has been just a wonderful, wonderful tool, in my opinion.
Yeah, talk about cutting down training time because, time is money, right? So if you can cut down training time, even for an hour, I would imagine the software pays for itself.
I think it's far more than that.
Yeah.
Well more than that. I mean, I remember, some years ago when we would be onboarding a new employee and it would require, I mean, days and weeks of like sitting over someone's shoulder and, you know, going, here's how you do this, here's how you do this, do this, do this. And so now with SweetProcess, what we've been able to do is develop these tracks, you know, which SweetProcess calls processes. And so we're able to group these procedures and these training videos into these groupings. So a new employee, for example, could come on board. They can watch all about the company. They can, you know, learn about the job tasks and functions that are specific to their role. And so they come in now to the live one-on-one training with a really solid basis of understanding what their roles and responsibilities are, as well as like a general understanding of what the functions are. So, you know, I've gone from you know, maybe needing to spend a full week training someone to a couple hours training someone because of the SweetProcess, you know, libraries that we've been able to create.
Luke, what was a role that you're like, wow, like if you were to pick out one role, I'm sure you use it for many different roles. What was one role was like, wow, it was just game changing? It's like,
man, it was definitely game changing in our, well, it's actually been game changing in almost every department, to be honest with you. But, you know, specifically sales has been, you know, huge. I mean, right. So look, we all know the typical sales stereotype, right? Salespeople are sort of unorganized and, you know, and that's kind of what makes them great salespeople, right? You know? And so being able to sort of document in a step-by-step process and have that reference that they can go back to, it's online, you know, they don't have to carry around a loose leaf, you know, pamphlet. And so for us, being regional in multiple parts of the state, our closest region outside of our home office is 3.5 hours by car. And so, you know, you don't always get that one-on-one training interaction. So to have a quick, easy online place where the sales agent can go back and reference what we talked about and see a training video, that's been game-changing. I'd also say it's been game-changing in our construction services department. So our construction services would do like all of the permitting, all of the purchasing and estimating, and a lot of the back office functions of, you know, building a home. And so it can be very complicated. Every city and jurisdiction you work with has different requirements and, you know, a different procedure for submitting for a building permit. And, you know, and so being able to document that in SweetProcess, I mean, it's almost fully eliminated the need for one-on-one training in some roles in that department.
Wow. Yeah, the more you talk, the more complicated it seems to get about everything.
You know, I mean, yeah, and that's what's so great about SweetProcess is, you know, it is really, really complicated. In our business, there are so many moving pieces. I don't know if it's our business. We're not special. All businesses have a lot of moving pieces.
They do, but I think yours in particular has a lot of moving pieces. I mean, just from like the outside vendors you have to use to, I mean, I wasn't even thinking, okay, yeah, there's certain timelines you need to get, you know, inspections or, you know, stuff from the city. And you know, the city, I mean, the cities are not quick with anything.
Totally, man. You know, and so, you know, getting away from sort of this loose leaf like checklist that only one person was in control of and had access to be able to provide, you know, a training library supported by videos and checklists online that multiple people in multiple regions around the state can all access at the same time. And it's been, I'd say it's been incredibly game-changing.
What were, you know, look, what were common questions you had in the beginning, or was there anything you were skeptical about before implementing SweetProcess?
Yeah, I was a little bit skeptical in the beginning. I mean, you know, you move from sort of this paper world to this online world. And so it's like, well, what happens if, you know, I like do all this work and what happens if it gets lost, you know? And
it's more like a mental barrier of like, here's how we used to do it to here's maybe the new way of doing it.
Totally, man. Yeah. Totally. So, but that being said, I mean, you know, they've made it so really easy. I mean, it's just not very complicated. I mean, you know, and then we use their onboarder. So they have an onboarding team and you can pay them. It's like a nominal fee and they help you get all your loose leaf papers into SweetProcess.
Oh, that's amazing.
Going. Yeah, wow. So that they have a little bit of an onboarding process, and so we use that, and that helped pretty substantially as well.
So, tell me, what's the next big goal for you for the company? What's on the horizon?
Yeah, man. So we're basically doubling in size this year.
Wow.
Well, we were this year prior to COVID, so now it'll be next year. But the next big jump is doubling in size.
What's the next step someone should take if they're listening to start to streamline operations? Like, what if I want to be like Luke? I want to be like, okay, it used to take weeks for onboarding. Now it's cut. What should they start doing?
I'll tell you what I've learned throughout this process is that, we set out to do this thing and we tried to get too granular with the operating procedures on our first go around. Yeah. And it was like, a paragraph for every step. And now as we're a couple years down the road, we've realized that SweetProcess calls it a minimum viable procedure, right? And it's really like the high level checkpoints of what you need to do in order to complete any individual task, but maybe not, at this micro granular level. So to get started, I would recommend that you take those, you kind of analyze, where am I spending all of my time in oversight and training? And you just start to break down those core procedures into a minimum viable process and procedure, essentially a checklist inside SweetProcess, and don't get too granular with it in version 1, because it's probably going to change.
Amazing. Thank you. Check out SweetProcess.com. Check out MonteVista Homes and .com, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks, Luke.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to the Process Breakdown Podcast. Before you go, quick question. Do you want a tool that makes it easy to document processes, procedures, and/or policies for your company so that your employees have all the information they need to be successful at their job? If yes, sign up for a free 14-day trial of SweetProcess. No credit card is required to sign up. Go to sweetprocess.com, sweet like candy, and process like process.com. Go now to sweetprocess.com and sign up for your risk-free 14-day trial.